I genuinely was. And you couldn't see me. And if you could have seen me, I was like, what do I push?
I could see you. It was so cute. And I've been like scrolling. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. How do I tell her I'm here? Hold on. Oh, and there's Natasha. Hi, Natasha.
Hey, Natasha.
Or as I call her, Natish.
I was like, I'm like, where do I find the camera? I was like, I need the camera on, kind. And all I did was pick it up, and then I could see the book I have this resting on. I was like, oh, the camera is the wrong one.
Hi, Uzo.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in here. How are you?
I'm the same. I'm the same. Staying safe, hunkering down, observing. Obviously missing contact with, my family and friends on a like tactile way. But doing what needs to be done,
Yeah. I feel like it feels like some moments are easy and fine and like it's almost like nothing's happening.
That's right.
And then there's realizations, and I feel like for me it comes up before bed. I feel like there's like a sense of I feel the collective sadness, the collective trauma. And there's like a confusion of how to kind of navigate through that. Cause it just feels so, it's like, it's surreal.
Absolutely. This does not feel like for me anyway, like a real time. It's like, if somebody had told me, despite the number of movies that I've seen, that this could ever occur, I just wouldn't have believed it. I just simply
And there's a
never
part of me that also, to a certain extent, I feel like I wish I'd never read all those dystopian novels and futuristic. Like I kind of wish I hadn't read, because it sends me sometimes into these places that I'm like, you need to stay in the present moment, because otherwise it's overwhelming.
Absolutely. Although I will say this much, like things that I know that are probably not true from these like apocalyptic books. Like I've started meditating on this idea, like maybe zombies aren't like bloody, like pale people. Like maybe it's us when like we take the wrap off our head and our braids are all the way back.
When the gray, like that's hilarious. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
And we're all coming out of our houses.
We'll be like,
spray tan, manicure. It's like that's
look at my little nubs.
Me too. Oh, mine are gone, long gone.
To me, it's been interesting because I'm a little bit like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. And I enjoy those things. I enjoy them immensely. And even now, like putting on some lipstick really does make a day feel a moment feel brighter. Flowers, like I have to say, like flowers.
Ooh, those are gorgeous.
Aren't they gorgeous? This plant has been like my saving grace. I finally gave her a ribbon. My dad suggested I had like this ugly piece of tape holding her up. And my dad was like, do you have a ribbon? I was like, I do, Dad. And he was like, no, plants like beautiful things too, Tracee. And I was like, oh my God.
You're like, because it is a living thing. And it's like game changer.
And I talk to her every morning, and she's been
Does she have a name?
No, not a name. She's a fiddle leaf fig. So I just keep saying, good morning, fiddle leaf.
That's good enough. Well, it's beautiful. And those flowers are stunning. Really, really stunning. Yeah. And you look stunning.
You're kind. Little things that brighten the day. Nothing like a clean face. Nothing like a wash of the face and a brush of the teeth, which is, sometimes hard to come by.
And sometimes doesn't happen until afternoon. Just saying. So.
I was grateful for this live today. It inspired me to put on a house dress.
I love it. With a shoulder, do I see perhaps?
No shoulder. I mean, it's an easy zip, but I was like, let's switch out of the sweats.
It's cute. I put on a sweater, but the sweats remain intact.
Yeah,
like, I'm definitely
of
it. But I was saying, I don't know if you heard me earlier, I wanted to talk to some women who I really, truly love. And obviously love because of the work and the talent that has existed, as was born innately into you. Love, but really love because of the heart space that you have opened and shared. And it's like, I don't know, I was meditating on this idea of women and the support of women, and how there are like those obvious and overt forms of support that we know and have seen, and Then there are other forms of support that can be small gestures, large gestures. But I think what you take away from them that are meaningful is when it feels like it comes from an honest place, whether
Yeah,
large or small.
I,
And I was just going to say, like, it really just meant so much to me. So for y'all who don't know it, it meant so much to me, particularly when I first started in this. I don't know anybody, and I, I was just coming into it, and every single time, like it's like without fail, every single time I saw you, whether it was a carpet, whether it was the first time I met you when we went to that dinner downtown, openness and welcoming. And an honest opening and welcoming, not because it was the right thing to do, not because it was just the kind thing even to do. It just felt like truly like, I see you and I welcome you into this new thing. And I know this is new and I see what you're doing. And I just wanted to say, like, thank you and appreciate it. And I wanted to talk about it because it's like, I think I just hope more and more women and girls get to do that and have that same experience and know that there's someone in your corner who is genuinely cheering you on.
You freeze?
No.
One of the things about live or all the social, Zoom and all that, you can't talk while someone else is talking. I'm such an interrupter. No. I'm like, no. So first off, I want to say thank you for expressing that. And the feeling is so mutual. I feel the same way about you. I tried to look back through because I feel like we have, although not recently, we have a robust little text thread that there were some really beautiful exchanges that we've had. There have been times when you've checked in on me during certain things. And your work was obviously my first introduction to you. And then I think through Natasha was how we... how our hearts met each other and like the human form. But your work in and of itself was moving and opening to me. And then meeting you, for me, there's a real thing in the world when I see a sister, when I see a fellow that sort of seems to occupy the same kind of tribe or seems to be stretching the real estate that we are given as women and as Black women, and saying, like, I don't care what real estate you're giving me. This is the real estate my soul, my heart, my being, and my energy needs to take up. And you were one of those people. And then when I met you, when you meet someone, there's like you can tell a frequency that you're like, I like that. I like her. And so it was one of those immediate things. And also usually through Natasha, anyone's probably, I love a big person, like a big hearted person. Like I like people that take up space and take it up with an authentic love, and you're one of those people.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Very kind. I want to ask, like, do you think, was there ever, like, in your life, like, I don't know, like, did it start with, is it from being from a big family or having sisters, or is there a moment that you can even recall where you felt a support from a sister, a womanhood support, where you just, you felt like you were lifted up?
Honestly, it started with my sisters and it started with my mom. My mom was very clear. Like I have two brothers, but they came along when I was 15 and 16. So for the first 15 years of my life, it was my mom and her three girls. And we shared a room, me and my sisters, and our two twin beds, me and my sister Chudney, were right next to each other. So we slept in the same bed for years. And my mom made it really clear, like I didn't even understand the term sibling rivalry because it was, we were each other's support, particularly in the world that I was raised in. It was a big world. My mom has a big life and a big career, and she's a big planet, and there was a lot happening around, so that connection with my siblings was where I felt safe. And that's where I developed as a person. So when I launched out into the world, like, I don't know, I've always felt like there was enough sun for everybody, that it wasn't a matter of competition or like you could take what was mine. Cause I just never understood that. And I always shied away from people that made me feel, you walk away from someone and you're like, yeah, I don't feel good. I feel like someone slimed me, And I know that's about other people's own safety and what they must feel like in their own skin.
Yes.
But so it came from my childhood. And then I've always I feel better when there's that around.
Yes.
And so I feel like that's what I like to bring into the world to the best of my ability. I'm not perfect at it.
Of course, but it seems like you organically draw people in versus, and like you said, I love what you just said. There's enough sun for everybody, because
it really is.
You shine light on everybody, whether it's on your social, you see yourself, highlighting so many different artists, politicians, creatives, thinkers, fashion, and across the board. You behave as you become the sun, you know what I mean? Highlighting those people. But and what, I don't know, I guess the thing that I would love, like, maybe to pass on through this is, if there's something for people listening to us now, and watching, for the young girls in particular, where I think that's learning, like that, those roads can start to form of what kind of woman you're going to be out in the world. Do you have a guiding light, a thought on that, as to
well, I would also love to hear your first stories, because you're a similar kind of person. And then I do, I feel like when one wins, we all win.
That's right.
Like, it just really feels like that to me. Like, sure, my own ego wants to be the winner, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, mostly the win is who I am and who I'm becoming as a person, and becoming more myself. And I personally, I look around, like, you're one of the people, there's so many lights around me that I see that, like, remind me to find my own light, remind me to take up my own space, inspire me to, like, find the thing that makes me feel that way. Like, I always say that about jealousy. Whenever I start to feel that thing of jealousy, I'm like, but when you're ready to sit, Tracee, sit and ask yourself, what is it you're jealous of? And then let that be the inspiration for what it is you need to seek more of. That person looks happy in love, or that person's got legs I want. Like, I don't know, like, how do I love my legs? You know what I mean? How do I, in the exact form that they are, as they are, how do I love them? Whatever those things are, as like information for you. But yeah, I want to ask you first, and then maybe together we can think of what the thing is.
Yeah, like, absolutely. I mean, well, first, I think similar stories in that, like, I come from my first tribe of women was my family. I have two sisters. I have two sisters and two brothers, guys. My brothers often get left out of the story, but
two sisters and two brothers.
Yes, exactly. But I do have two brothers, but I also have two sisters, one above, one below. We also shared a room. First the three of us, and then eventually the two of us, and my sister Tracee and I shared a room all the way. We actually lived together in New York up until November of 2011. We were roommates, and only not roommates except for in college when we were away. And she is my best friend, just as you were saying. Like, that is, I don't even, and I mean, I feel like it's like she is my sister. Like, she could climb inside my skin and, like, live there if possible, you know what I mean? And I and her, like, I love her beyond both my sister Oni, like my older sister, like another way of, and I guess for me, it's if I'm thinking about it, it would be having had an older sibling pull you up, right? So having a woman in my life as an example who's pulling you up, and then having a woman stand beside you every minute of the day who you are cheering for. My sister and I were not only just sisters, we were teammates. and then also rivals in college. You know, we ran for 2 different schools. And
what did you run?
I ran the 100 and 200 meters.
I was the 2 and the 4.
Okay, now I see where those legs come from.
My legs were too long for the 1. By the time I got
that's
ready,
400.
it was over.
But you were coming around that track.
I was coming around that track.
Oh yes, okay, now that makes sense. Yeah, and I mean, those were I guess that was the start of it really for me. And I've always been attracted to like finding other versions, I guess, of those relationships. Like, you know, somebody who's cheering me on desperately, and I too am cheering them on desperately. And you can feel it. I don't know if it's because you've had a sister that I can feel what that love feels like and looks like and recognize it instantly, you know, or if that's what I'm chasing. I don't know. But that's where it started for me. And then also bled into having teammates. I don't think you need to play a sport, every single woman. I think there are other areas you can learn it, but I do think there is something really important and beneficial that comes from having played a sport.
I agree.
Having been competitive with women, competing with women, without being competitive, if that makes any sense. You know, it's like I ran the 4x100 as well. And it doesn't matter. My coaches used to say all the time, it does not matter how fast you are on that anchor leg. You still need those other 3 girls to get around the track.
Yeah. And the passing of that baton and the action of that pass and how you have to be in sync connected with that other person is a really special, like, learning I had.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. That's right. And there's an understanding. You can feel when you're working together and when we're working as individuals. You can still even win the race.
Yeah.
And be working as individuals. And that's not team.
No.
You know what I mean? You can still even win the race and be working as individuals. So, but it's how much more exciting and how much more, I don't know, that win just feels different when it's like all of you coming around together. So I think that was my beginning. And then you were talking then with the jealousy of it all. Like I also remember a coach of mine in college, my college coach Leslie, she used to say this thing. She'd say, you see this track, you're running 100 meters. She's like, Uzo, you need to focus on your lane. Do you know how much time it takes to look left or look right? 1/10 of a second is how much time it takes off your race, puts on your race to look left, look right. And that is the difference between first and last place.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm trying to fix the light. I feel like it's really bright.
Okay.
Also, I feel like somebody is blowing leaves out there.
Okay. I don't hear it, but it's okay.
I think it's Ishmael. Continue. I got distracted. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. She said, you know what it takes, the time it takes you to start looking at somebody else in the race with you, left or right,
or looking back,
takes 1/10 of a second, and that is the difference between first and last place. And you could have been focused on what you're doing. You're taking away from your own race. Focus on your own race, and that was like a life sport and life game changer for me, where life just became about something else. You know, like you're not focused on anything else other than what you're doing and what you're bringing to the race in line with what you're and into life. You can't be focused on somebody else, because when you're focused on somebody else, I feel like you're not focused on yourself. And what you're saying, I say it because of that jealousy aspect. You're not focusing on them with love. That's, you know what I mean? It's a different thing to be like, damn, you look amazing. And like, where'd you get that? You know what I mean?
Or as if they're looking amazing undermines something of your amazing, which it doesn't.
That's right.
But that's a hard one, you know, I mean, I'm 47 years old. I've spent years working through and chewing on the ground glass of so many of those uncomfortable human things. And I'm still doing it on a daily basis, trying to make sense of those feelings that come up, or a behavior that I have that I'm like, well, that was not helpful. Like, and that was not nice, or whatever it is, like how you hold yourself. And I think that brings us back to, you know, that sense of team and that sense of friendship where somebody can see you when you can't see yourself, can love you when you can't love yourself, can hold a space for you when your space is feeling really tight and really constricted, can see a bigger sense of you when you can't see that for yourself. Yeah. And I always say that, like, someone told me this a long time ago, like, my job as a friend is either to be a shoulder to cry on or the cheerleader on the side. Like, it's, and that my opinion about what you should be doing in your life, I could probably share, like, I don't know, 30% of it. Cause what do I know? I'm here, what I want in a friend and how I've been taught to friend, is to literally support you in trusting yourself. Like, support you in that. And even for people that I don't know, like you make great decisions. And if you don't think you do, then let's talk about why you don't think you do. And like, how can I support you in answering those questions for yourself, you know? And I feel like particularly life is not easy. It's not a movie for nobody. For nobody. Like, nobody seems to be exempt. Yeah. And some circumstances, you know, you can't compare your insides to other people's outsides. Like, we don't know. You don't know what's happening.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Really
everybody.
You can't compare your insides to other people's outsides. That's a good one. And like, we just don't know what's happening over there for you. But what we can do is hold a loving, curious, compassionate, and kind space for each other. And as I was saying, like, life is so not like a bowl of, it's like not a bowl of cotton candy. Like, for me, it requires a tribe. Like, I need a tribe of women. And sometimes they're people who are not the closest to me. Sometimes the biggest pearls and moments of uplift come from an unsuspecting stranger who's in the, like, you just don't know, you know? I feel like you and I have had a couple of those moments.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I really...
Go ahead.
Go.
No, nope. I was going to say, I agree. Well, even like that bigger, you know, or not, I shouldn't say bigger, maybe equal to the texts and the emails and those and phone call conversations. It's really, you know, the doorway in and opening was just that sincere, loving first hello, and sitting down. Like, I remember going to that dinner, you know, Sarah Sophie, who's also such a lovely supporter of women, you know, and feeling like, wow, this woman, I'm the only other black girl here, and she's making me feel so at home in this space that she is in all constantly. You know, she's lived this space and she's making me feel so welcome. And that was the first of many. And I just remember being like, and also, you know, going home to my sister Jane, and, you know, like, Girlfriends was our jam. And I was like, Joan is who you think she's going to be.
I will never not be Joan Carol Clayton. I will never not be Joan Carol Clayton.
Yes, she's who you think she'll be.
That's so funny.
That kind.
I'm sorry, it's so bright right here. It's okay.
No worries. But yeah, I thought this was a great time while we're sitting and meditating, and people are reflecting on what makes life important, and what is important to, you know, sort of carry with us in this next chapter, I guess.
And how to envision what we want to be on the other side of this.
There you go.
Yeah. You go. I also don't want us to depart from each other. I have watched the first 3 episodes.
Oh, thank you for watching.
Like, it's a watch worthy, and it's really important. It's important for a lot of reasons. I think it's always important to remember where we come from, to know what was in here, what's at the base of this. And I also just want to talk about your work in it. And I do want to ask you, so your work was extraordinary. There were a couple of moments, like, literally I was laying there and I was like, you were talking to your husband, and it was, you felt so alone in it. Shirley felt so alone in it. Yeah. How did you prepare? What did you learn that you weren't expecting about Shirley Chisholm?
Okay.
And in the experience, going back in time to the 70s, when there are more people in these zones that are of color, we get to have those moments. You don't have to go back to your pack. What did it feel like shooting and being on screen in that feeling? That was interesting to me to think about.
Okay.
That was a lot of questions.
No, but all very good ones. Very, very good ones. I think the first would be, in the preparation, I read a lot of her speeches. I read one of her books, Unbought and Unbossed. I also watched the documentary of the same name. And I was really looking for from her, not so much her constitution, but the why. Like, how does a woman born in the 1920s, run for office in the 70s, standing right outside the margins of when the Civil Rights Act has just been enacted, standing in the shadows of Martin Luther King, how does being assassinated, March on Selma, March on Washington, all these things have just occurred. She's not doing it in 2016. So I was really interested to know the metal of that woman, what she was made of. I always like to ask, so my process in that is I like to ask a question when during work, and the question really started to become clear to me. How does she define herself versus how does the world define her? Because I'm clear what time we're in, and the definition of both woman and Black person, and then the intersectionality of those two things are quite small. And she's living very large. Right. And so when I was watching, she's not afraid to take up space. And use her voice and speak plainly and go against the grain, all of these things. And so that was what I was interested in learning in her speeches. She talked a lot about possibility, and she saw herself as a symbol of possibility and the idea of hope and what was possible for mankind of all kinds. And so that was the thing that I was really interested in tapping into, connecting to, like okay, it's easy to say someone's strong, but why are they? And what are they trying to pursue? Something that, what's her mission? And her mission was, I love that, advancing and progress. She's a real progressive. So that was one.
I've never heard that word. I love that, ethnicity.
Yeah, it was really my thing. So I was really interested in her inner her inner drive and intention. And so then it was interesting to play the part standing in
someone just asked, we're talking about Shirley Chisholm. So in the piece that Uzo's in right now, it's called Mrs. America, and it's on FX and Hulu, not Hulu. Hulu. And Uzo plays extraordinary Shirley Chisholm, who is the first Black woman to run for office in this country. And so that's what we're talking about. Okay, someone asked.
Yeah. And so, that was like the thing that was driving me. And it was, when she says that line in the bedroom with her husband, that I knew those words, because I have found in my life at varying times that the definition someone has for me is so limited compared to the definition that I have for myself. You know what I mean? And so I remember going back, bringing this conversation full circle. That line to me was, this is not for me. And what she was doing, it wasn't even for herself. We're saying this right now she was doing it for me. She was doing it for you. She was doing it for so many of us. And I'm going to say these words for me, for my sister, for my mother when she immigrated to this country and said, I never knew there was anything wrong with being Black until I moved to America. I'm doing it. I'm saying it for all of the times people, women of color have felt like they stood outside the margins and without reason or cause.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I felt all of that, and I got all of that. It's a strong piece that it's, you know, it's not told through your lens. And the truth is that second wave feminism in the 70s, you know, that's where that real intersection started to become so apparent, between Black feminism and white feminism, and what the difference in those two things were. And so I found it really interesting. I'm interested and hungry for more.
Well, you'll get more every week. Well, you know, and then the next episode, one of our castmates, Bria, and Niecy Nash is also in it, who's like also fantastic as Flo Kennedy.
Always.
Our castmate Bria, who's beautiful and doing beautiful work. The three women there, you know, holding it down, who are all excellent. Both incredibly excellent. So I hope people will continue to watch those stories and, you know, learn those stories, quite frankly. You know, there are some names that have lived on because their mythology has lived on. And names like a Flo Kennedy, we should know her name. You know, we should know her name. We should know Shirley Chisholm's name. These are women who did remarkable things in advancement of the movement and in advancements for women. So
I agree. Well, I mean, you know, I could talk to you forever. I'm so happy to see your face, but I know you have Natasha. You can talk to Natasha now?
Yes, Natasha's coming next. Thank you. It's like, I was like, I'm killing for being a light, for being an advancer, supporter, raiser, light, spotlight of women's sunshine for women.
I feel the same about you, Ozo, and I'm so happy. This is beautiful. You're fantastic. Stay safe.
Thank you.
And I hope to hug you soon.
You too, Tracee. Stay safe.
Bye.
Love you, lady. Isn't she the best? You guys. She's really the best. She's awesome. Real deal, open heart. And the next open heart is my friend Natasha, which you guys, by the way, we just talked about it for a second. Natasha is actually who introduced me to Tracee, which is, hi, Anna Perro! That's my friend Anna Perro. She introduced me to Tracee. That's another amazing spirit, Anna Perro. There you are, Natasha. I'm coming to click you. Hold on. It says, wait. Natasha, are you there? Are you there, Natasha? Mission Control, can you hear me? That is a song I learned in elementary school, by the way. It's a real song. Yeah, Natasha, I'm vamping y'all while we, I see Natasha's comment come through. Natasha is, here she is. There she is. Okay, it says, hold on. Why can't I request you? It says hide live. Hold on. Go live with Natasha Leone. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Oh, it says you're unable to join, Natasha. Are we gonna have a rematch? That's all I'll say about that. So Natasha and I already are both borderline questionable. I already didn't have the camera on. I don't know. I don't know why. Natasha says you can't join the live, and then when I tap the thing for you, it's okay. Here we go. Now it says I can go live with you. Oh, it just said it again. Natasha and Leon is unable to join. One more time. Hold on. you know, both you and I are gonna have to FaceTime about this later. Oh no. Well, let me tell a story, which Natasha, I know already knows. Well, I'll see if her name comes up once more. Hi, Kaylee. That's also a castmate of ours from Mrs. America. How you doing today? Um, Natasha. Um, what's it called? I want to tell a story while Natasha and I are working this out. Um, so season one of Orange, or season two of Orange, when the season one of our show was being up for the Emmy Awards, we were doing a lot of press together, she and I, and everybody, I mean, everybody will tell you. Anybody who knows Natasha is just the best. She's an amazing spirit, huge, huge, huge heart. And we would do a lot of stuff together. And the greatest lesson, honestly, that I can tell you that one of the greatest lessons I've ever gotten from work, but the greatest lesson from this business we're in, hi Renee, is that you can work together. You know, Natasha and I would do all this press stuff together. We would be out doing pictures and, you know, magazine shoots and whatever TV show, talk show. And I remember we went on to Chelsea Handler's show, which was awesome. We had such a good time together. And I remember the takeaway was, this can be fun. This can always be fun, a good time. This doesn't have to be anything but a good time. I've got Natasha coming now, y'all. What? And because we just had a good time. And that, yes, I didn't know if it was going to be shades or a hat. I got to tell you, I was like,
this is a hat and these are shades.
Hey,
that was, my heart was palpitating.
I know.
That was the most high stakes activity.
I know. I was like, if I knew for sure, I was like, it's not going well over there. I know right now the phone is out. Like, I was like
trying to log back in. I was changing my password.
But you got it. It's both you and I doing something. Have you ever done a live before? And here comes
no.
Oh, wait, is that the hat from Greece or is that the hat from Nigeria?
Yes, this is the Greece hat.
Yeah.
It's all the same items, just recycled and recycled.
Love.
Trying to do good for the environment.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. What a beautiful conversation with Tracee.
Right. I love her. Hi, Root Beer.
Root Beer alive, well. What a beautiful conversation.
How about those gems?
I mean, it's so true. There's just like, there is no competition. Like, I love the idea that there's just enough space for everybody and then make the space.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I always identify with thinking of it as a relay race in a run.
From your days of track and field.
You know, nobody did track and field like I did track and field.
How are you doing? Are you saying? Well,
I love that show so much.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Crazy.
What about when you go looking for that there's a bug and that they're listening in on you and your little face in the grate?
I know. How great was that?
That's a great
shot. That's Amma all day. Our director who hit that one out of the park. Amma Sante.
Yeah, she did a beautiful job.
She's fantastic.
Such a heavy idea. The idea that they're like, Bella Abzug is sort of showing up for you and like, we're going to give you this much, but once we've given you this much, we're going to let you know how we're going to not give you the whole pie. And then Shirley just being like, do you think that this was, you know, an act of hope? This is like, I'm going in for the whole thing here.
Yeah,
This wasn't a presentation.
Yeah. But I mean, like what Tracee was saying before, it's like the conversation about intersectionality, you know what I mean? Like where's what these lines, which is why, you know, thank you for joining today. I really appreciate of conversations of what does real support of womanhood, lifting women up really look like. And I know I have gotten that from you in spades. I also know, by the way, everybody who's tuning into us, Natasha is like a solid friend. And ways you can sometimes, I think, know somebody is a solid friend is how long they have had their friends. And you have friends that go back to like childhood, both in life and in work, which I think speaks volumes to the friend and the woman you are, you know, to the women in your life who, you know, and even if you think about animal pictures, for example, choosing to start that with a friend and another woman, Maya, you know, what was that important to you? You know, like being like, this is the atmosphere I want to create here.
Yeah. I mean, like, like what else are we doing? I always think that for me also, because I don't really come from this family unit, I always sort of, you know, lean on like you and Tracee and Maya to sort of, you know, like it's funny watching you and Tracee talk because I'm like, oh, those are the two people I call when I'm in crisis. So, and I'm like, and that's exactly, they're like saying all the things I need to hear constantly. I'm just, yeah, but like, what is the content of your inner life? Like, these are your outer conditions, and this is what you think the problem is. It's really going on, and what are you really about? You know, like, what is the real meaning that you're searching for in this life, sort of separate from all the noise of, you know, what we think, the sort of false expectations we put on ourselves and all this pressure and stuff, and that's not real. So I think that for me, it's always incredibly grounding, like, having that company with Maya is really like, you know, what are we about in this life? What do we really want to say? What do we really want to make? And you see that, like, I love that that third episode of your show, and like seeing Shirley Chisholm trying to, like, the difference between
Oh no, you froze. Did I lose you?
I don't know. Can you see me now?
I can see you now. You said the end of the road for you. That was the last thing I heard.
Look, it's young Prince. It's a softer side of Prince.
Oh wow.
Yeah, his meditative side, and that's his guitar.
Prince's guitar?
Yeah.
Wait, really, or just like you're saying that?
This is the Prince room. Not kidding.
What?
So
is that a real tambourine from his band?
You have to ask Fred.
Wow.
But I mean, I don't remember what I was saying, but just like true solidarity. I just was so struck by that in the episode of kind of, you know, this idea of what are we really searching for in this life? What does it mean to have real friends? What does it mean to have like true support of just the way in which Bella Abzug and Gloria Steinem say to Shirley Chisholm, like, oh, this has actually now just become politics. Like, it's so heavy what they're saying to her in that moment. And then sort of for me, like what working with my friends in this business has done of like a you or a Maya is kind of like, no. This wasn't like the action of us running a race. This is about like, what does the real you want to say in this real, your one life here, you know?
Yeah.
And like, how can we hold that space for each other to kind of, you know, tell our personal truth. And like not say, you know, quit at 70%. I only believed in you 70% of the road. Right. Like, I mean, that was such a heavy episode. What a human being to get to play, and how beautifully you did it, Uzo. It was really like, I was like a little crying baby there with my my little bed,
Well,
which
that's
I
very,
never leave.
that's very nice. That's very nice. But I mean, it's that thing of seeing, you know, I mean, you'll watch the rest of the series and hopefully other people will watch it too and get to see, you know, how it ends, you know, but I don't know, it was real, like, born out of that, watching that. Also born out of, I don't know if you could hear me when I was saying, you know, we met obviously on Orange, but what made me really even more deeply fall in love with you was the support, you know, feeling it going both ways. And you've heard me tell this story 1,000 times, but I'm telling it now for the kids at home, where it's like, you know, that run we did during when our show was nominated the first time, and we're both going out for our category, and we were doing so much together. Do you remember? We would do all this stuff together, and I just remember how fun it was. And it was fun because we were both in it. Obviously, you know, we know what we're in for, and we know it's a big deal and all this stuff. Nobody's negating that. Absolutely. We weren't like not aware of like the world we were in, the orbit we were in. But that didn't overtake the love, is what I just remember more importantly, like feeling. And I was just like, this can be fun. This can like, you can be in a heavy, you know what I mean? A race for something. And this can be fun. Like, wow. Like this again, you know, I don't mean to like, I know it's probably sound like super cheesy and over the top or whatever, but it's like, that speaks to the spirit of you. That speaks to the spirit, and it speaks to the way, you know, a friend and a woman can be towards one another. If
water seeks its own level.
Come on.
Well, but I think, you know, what it was for me is like, I remember really like the privilege of kind of like taking 5 years off of showbiz. And then when I look back, it was like, you know, the photos of like me and Chloe or me and Maya kind of somewhere that I would remember in a way more than like the events of, you know, how a film was received or not. Like, which is very much, I think, became like a touchstone of what I want sort of like a round two to be, which was really like the essence of what we did. Of like, when I remember that year, it's like, you know, it's like me and you kind of like running around, sort of making memories on a human level. Or even like when I see like those pictures of like me and you and Samira on the float in Brazil.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We're so in it. Like we are just like, this
and
is
a good time.
Yeah. Like we and these are, you know, the sum totals of like the things that make a life. Like, it's that thing of like, when you're on, you know, when you're dying, nobody's ever going to say like, I wish I worked more. It's like, I wish that I had that the content of my life had more meaning, and that I spent more time in the relationships, you know, that matter to me. That's why, you know, we do Thanksgiving at your place. That's why we do that.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you're in the family. And we were,
which is great because I have no idea how to make a turkey. I don't have a big enough place.
But you always come with either the dessert, or you come with the salad, or you come with all of the accoutrements, that support the rest, which we need. Can you hear me?
What's happening is somebody's like trying to call me from no caller ID. So I'm assuming it's spam, but apparently that breaks up the Instagram live, which they never planned for in the technology. Like, is me rejecting that spam call?
I had a call come through in the beginning too. And I was like, I hope this doesn't happen again. I was like, how many times is this going to happen? Yeah, it's remarkable. And I think, you know, I'm glad to see like people are with us right now, you know, and hopefully something among these two conversations have been said, you know, that other women carry with them. We are reinforcing for ourselves, you know, like what we want to be and do and carry in the world, and just spread the love. That's all. Ding. What are you doing later? You want me to FaceTime you later?
This is the new world. I don't know what to tell you. By the way, your dystopian thing about the zombies, pretty out there. That was pretty funny.
But do you like it?
Yeah.
It's fair though, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we've just been imagining it wrong. Like it's like anyway.
I love you so much, Uzo, and
I love you so freaking much.
I really enjoy also just watching you and Tracee. I'm like, oh, that's very that's my peaceful place. It's like an extended cut of separate FaceTimes that I do with you. I really wish I could figure out a three-way FaceTime, but
you know you can do it.
I think it's possible, but I just don't think that I have that sort of. I feel like when I talk to my godmother, Ruth, and I keep trying to convince her, I'm like, I really think you'd have fun if I sent you like an Apple computer, because she insists on using not that one. And she's like, I just can't learn it right now. Okay. Maybe after this is all over, you could come over and show me. Huh?
Too much. The phone? No.
She won't. I got her an iPhone and she wouldn't take it. She likes the like opening of the but that's like on my ambition list, is to be able to figure out three-way FaceTime so I can call you and Tracee.
I will. I'm gonna send a three-way FaceTime. I know how to do it's when you. I'll show it to you after this. I'll show you how to do it.
I love you so much, Uzo.
I love you too. Thanks for talking and signing on. I love the Prince room. Fred is nailing it, and if that guitar is real, I don't even know what to say.
Wendy and Lisa.
What'd you say?
I mean, that's Wendy and Lisa, and this is you know, clowns, things from Purple Rain that Prince likes.
What? I love it.
Well, these are things. All right.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Kiss Root Beer and Fred for me, yeah?
Okay. Bye, Uzo.
Okay. Bye. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining. Please stay safe. Please stay good. Take care of yourselves. And if you're home and if you have Hulu, check out Mrs. America and support a woman.